الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. We're doing the chapter of Babul Anjasi wa Tatiri, the chapter of Najaasat and its purification. We've shown thus far the necessity from the Quran and the Hadith and the Sunnah that when a person wishes to pray, that they must remove any type of Najasat, impurity. And then we also mentioned that when we speak about impurity, it is not what me and you understand as impurity, but what the Shariat has categorized as impurity. We're speaking about that type of impurity. So we've already, alhamdulillah, discussed this much, that it is necessary to remove the impurity. Inshallah ta'ala, today we'll do the details, like how do you remove it, what do you use to remove it, etc. Bismillah, tafadhal, you can read from there. Loud. إذا أسر إذا أسر إذا أسر أسر إذا أسر أسر. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So he's saying, ويجوز تطهيرها بالماء وبكل ماء طاهر, that it is permissible تطهيرها, to cleanse. يعني what? This najasat that we spoke about earlier, بالماء, with water, وبكل ماء طاهر, and every pure liquid. So listen to that nicely. One is use water. We discussed in the beginning what is water. Water is that which occurs naturally, either it comes from the skies, or it comes from beneath the ground, or it comes from the lakes, the rivers, the oceans, etc. That is water, unadulterated, unchanged in its natural form, right? That is water. So you can. So natural occurring water can be used to remove that najasat. And besides the natural occurring water, any other liquid that it is pure, it doesn't have to be natural occurring water, right? So, وبكل ماء طاهر يمكن يزال كالخل. If you look at vinegar, they mention vinegar, like especially the type of vinegar we have, it is thin, it is liquidy, it is pure. If you take that, if some type of najasa come on your hand or come on your clothes and you pour that, you are able to effectively remove the najasa with that. Yes, it's not like a sticky thing that will rather increase the content or spread the najasa there. You use kalkhali wa ma'il waradi. You got waradi or wardi? Wama'il wardi, and water of the rose. Now you might have seen, I'm sure you get the rose water. It's like it's very pleasant, sweet smelling, and obviously it's spark because its originals is spark. It come from something pure, and it's also very thin. It can actually wash it away, right? So yeah, I see you got baqi la'i. I don't have in my kitab. I just got kalkhalli wa ma'il waradi wa nahwi dhalika and other things like that. So any type of liquid that is thin, and it can, here say, mimma إذا عصر in asara, that when you squeeze it, you will squeeze. Now, what I'm saying there is that if this liquid is so thin, if it had to get mixed or it had to come onto my cloth here, when I squeeze it, I wring it, I apply pressure to it, the water will come out. It will say it's thin enough to be a muzilun najasa, to remove najasa. So why they say إذا أسر in asara, when it is squeezed, it will drop out. The idea there is to show you that the whole idea is that this liquid, it must remove the najasat. So if it is thin enough that when it comes onto the affected and soil area, it will thin enough to take the najasat out, then that's fine. But if it's thick, that when you squeeze it, it will not take the najasat out, etc., etc., then it doesn't serve the purpose of making izalatun najasa. So in simple words, what we're saying is anything that can remove the najasat, as long as it's spark, must remove the najasat. Because the main purpose of something that is soiled with najis is to remove the najasat, right? إذا عصر أسرى, right? Carry on. وهذا وقال محمد وكيف والتكبير وقال لا يجوز إلا بالماء لأنه يتنفس بأول ولا يخرج والنجس لا يفيد الطهارة إلا أن هذا القياس ترك في الماء للضرورة. Right. Interesting. See, وهذا عند أبي حنيفة وأبي يوسف. So this, that as long as it is liquid, it is thin, it is clean, it's spark, and it can wash away, it can remove the effects of the najasat, it can flow away, it can take the dirt away, it's good enough. This opinion is وهذا عند أبي حنيفة وأبي يوسف. This is according to Imam Abu Hanifa إنما يستدل الشيخين. وقال محمد وزفر والشافعي. Imam Zufar, Imam Muhammad Shafi said, لا يجوز إلا بالماء. That if something has been soiled, if something has been rendered najis, then it will not be pure except you must use water, the natural occurring water that has not been changed, adulterated, right? That is saying. And their reasoning is quite unique, quite interesting. Just look away from the kitab, look away at, a little at me. They say, look here, see here, say for instance, there's some najis on this cloth here, right? Say there's some urine here, right? Listen. Now, when you put water there, the moment the water touches that urine, sorry, not water. Okay, just forget water. Let's say you use Coca-Cola, right? We remember, according to Sheikh, you can use vinegar, anything pure, right? So they say, look here, if there's some najasa there, the moment the liquid comes there, it touches the najasa, it also becomes najis. So when you put more liquid there, that also becomes najis. And you put more liquid there, then they also become najis. You understand what I'm saying? So if you use vinegar, if you use rose water, or you use any other liquid, clean liquid, and you want to wash some najasat away, it cannot wash that najasat away. It cannot wash that najasat away because that najasat becomes, that the liquid becomes najis automatically when it touches there, right? So then you tell me, say, but doesn't the same thing happen with the water? You say, look here, when you got najasat there, when the water comes there, the moment the water touches the najasat, that also it becomes najis. We'll say, yes, you are 100% correct. The exact same thing happened with the water. When the water touches the najasat, the water also becomes najis. But the difference is this, that we have got clear text to say that water is a muzilun najasa. And remember, I taught you this, I showed you this principle several times. When something is established contrary to logic, you only restrict it to that, you do not extend it to other things. You see what I'm saying? So they're saying water removing najasat, according to this explanation I gave you, ثبت خلاف القياس. سوف اختصر على هذا. That it removes the najasat, this is established contrary to logic. What is it? It is established contrary to logic. So when it is established contrary to logic, it will only remain restricted to that instance. It will not extend beyond. Okay, a simple example I gave you always. Like, look here, if you are, something is established contrary, if you got nothing to make wudu, right, and you only got nabir tamar, then you can use a nabir tamar to make wudu. So here, can you say, okay, if you got no water, you can use the nabir inab, you can use apple juice, you can use grape juice, you can use peachy juice. You say no. That using something which was not water was established contrary to logic. So it remains on that. You don't extend it to other things. So same thing here, he's saying, look here, what Imam, if this is Imam Yusuf, Imam Muhammad, Imam Zufar, Imam Shafi, they say this has been established contrary to logic. So it's only the text is clear that is water has the ability to do this, so it will be restricted to water. It will not be extended to anything else. Are you with me? That's one reason they give, and the other reason they give is this here. They say, look here, if we can also say water can't cleanse anything, then what will you use to clean? That means there's nothing to clean it. So two reasons. So I hope you're following the train of thought nicely. You have to pay attention carefully here. That the reason why Imam Zufar, Imam Muhammad, Imam Shafi say that any other pure liquid cannot cleanse a najasat from the body or from your clothes is because the moment the liquid touches the body or it touches the najas, it becomes najis. So how can a najis thing remove najasat? Then when you put more liquid, that will also become najis, and so forth and so forth. Then we automatically say, but okay, but doesn't the same thing happen with water? Isn't when your cloth is najis or your hand is najis, anything, when you put water, the water also become najis, and when you put water, the extra water also become najis. So they say, answers, yes, you are 100% correct. The exact same scenario plays out with water, but there's a difference. The difference is this here, that water, we've got sari text. We've got clear text to suggest that it is muzil najasa, that it removes najasat. And when you got clear text proving something contrary to logic, then yukhtasaru ala mawdi'ihi. It is only restricted to that instance. It is not extended to other instances. So we won't say now that the same outcome can apply to rose water, or the same outcome can apply to what's the other thing, rose water or clear vinegar, or to Coca-Cola, or to mix a drink or whatever, right? That's one reason they say acceptable. And another reason why they say also it is acceptable is just to say that this is based upon zarurat, and there isn't anything else. Zaruratu tataqaddaru biqadri zarura. You see, look here, when something is born out of necessity, you will only receive to the necessity. So yes, uh, it is born out of necessity that water must be able to clean. Then, then we were restricted to that. Are you with me? So the same to explain years in the text. Now see, they say, look here, la yajuzu illa bil ma'i. That cleansing here should not be correct illa bil ma'i, except with water. Why? There's a reason. لأنه يتنجس بأول الملاقات. That the liquid, it will become najis with the first meeting, right? So when the moment the water touches the najis, it becomes najis. والنجس لا يفيد الطهارة. Then najis, it will not give the benefit of tahara. Then when our objection comes, but okay, the same thing happens with water. When the water touches, there is the answer. إلا أن هذا القياس, but this logic of that becoming najis, turika fil ma'i, it is left out in ma. Why? للضرورة, out of necessity. Because if you're going to say that the water becomes najis, then what are you going to use to clean it? That is one reason I tell you. And the other reason I tell you is because uh, it is mansus alay. When you come to nas something, then you put your logic aside. You put your and you that's now you see as a simple masla that we are discussing now, but we learn two important principles. I told you sometimes, that's why I told you this, the ulama mentioned that Hidayah Sharif is not only a book of fiqh, it's a book of usul. That is why a person can never be a mufti or muftiya without studying Hidayah Sharif, especially if you study it properly, if you understand the usul behind all the masail. So see, from the simple masla, the simpler masla, and the simple ikhtilaf, we learn two important principles. When something is mansus alayh, when something has got clear text, you take your logic and you put it aside, even if it goes against the other principles of your madhab. You understand what I'm saying? Here, there's clear text that water is able to remove najasat. So we put our logic aside that the water becomes najis and everything. That's the first thing. And the second thing we learn, الضرورة تبيح المحظورات. When there's a necessity for something, there's no other way out. The necessity will allow, makes an impermissible thing permissible. That is the second thing we learn. You understood? So there are two important things you learn from this. So yeah, we're gonna now. That was what you say, Imam Zufar and Imam Muhammad's reasoning. Coming back to Sheikh's reasoning, they say no, water and also any other pure liquid, thin liquid that has the ability to wash things away. It is good enough to remove najasat from your clothes, from your body. Say, walahuma. They too say, annal ma'i'a. Water by nature, qali'un. Allah it removes, right? وَالطَّهُورِيَّةُ, and purity, بِإِلَّةِ الْقَلَعِ, it comes by because of removing, plucking away. Well, izalati, and effacing something. Understood that? So والنجاسة والنجاسة للمحاورة, they're saying the najasat, sorry, للمجاورة, that was there. فإذا انتهت أجزاء النجاسة, even though the first water became najis, whatever. One of the first proof is the clear text that water removes najis, right? We done the proof for that, right? وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِرْ. That is the textual evidence. Here is giving the naqli dalil. You must, right, to benefit fully from hidayah, you have to pay attention to the small things. What is the aqli dalil? What is the naqli dalil, etc. So here is giving the aqli dalil. They say, see, فَإِذَا انْتَهَتْ أَجْزَاءُ النَّجَاسَةِ, even though you say that, look here, when the water touches that thing and the water becomes najis, okay, we don't dispute that, right? One is we already got our clear text from the Quran and Sunnah that water removes the najasit. But here we're giving you a logical explanation. Say, but right, one najasat to the mujawarati, the najasat because of accompanying something, right? It is right, right. What he's saying is, isn't that ajza'un najasi? When the ajza means like the juice, the portions, the particles, yeah, particles. When the particles, right, of najasat is gone, yabqa tahiran, then it should be pure. So from this, what you learn something. So having understood this masla here, with anything which is thin and it can flow and can remove najasat, it will remove the najasat. So if istinja became, remember we'll do this in the kitab. Sometimes istinja is sunnat only, ne? If the najasat itself, the najasat was very little, it was less than the size of a coin, then istinja is not faraz, it is sunnat, ne? So, say for instance, istinja became faraz upon you, and you use something besides water, you use some Coca-Cola, or use Pepsi to make istinja. Will your istinja be done or not, Lukman? Will it be done? Why will it be done? Huh? Because it is thin, it's flowable, it's spark, it is clean, it will remove the nuts. And similar to that, if you have some najasat on your clothes, whatever, and you have a shortage of water, you don't have water, and you took some Coke and you poured it there, or you took some Pepsi, or you took some any drink that was liquid and you washed it and you squeezed it 3 times, and the traces of the najasat was gone, then it will be pure, right? So, وجواب الكتاب لا يفرق بين الثوب والبدن. What he's saying, jawab here doesn't actually come in the meaning of jawab. It comes, you say the text of the kitab, ويجوز تطهيرها بالماء وبكل ماء طاهر يمكن إزالتها. They're saying the text of the kitab. And I tell you, what does kitab refer to? Kitab is another name of Quduri. Like you say, the book. Like our English says, the man. He's the man. He's the one who can do everything. The book, because Quduri Sharif had such a great acceptance, was called the book. It was the ultimate concise strict manual. So the text of the kitab, لا يفرق بين الثوب والبدن. It does not differentiate between the cloth and the body. Thin, pure thing that has the ability to remove the najis. Right. وهذا قول أبي حنيفة. This is the opinion of Abu Hanifa, that you can use your Coca-Cola, your vinegar, you can use your rose water, or any other thin, spark, liquid thing to cleanse your body and to cleanse your. Here we speak about physical najasat, ne? We're not speaking about najasat hukmiyah, ne? We're not speaking about like wudu. That's different. That will come later on, right? Or it already passed already, right? وهذا قول أبي حنيفة, and وإحدى الروايتين, and one of the two riwayats of Imam Abu Yusuf. Remember I told you that Imam Abu Hanifa's opinion was the most cautious opinion. That is why mostly in the Hanafi madhab, Taharat, Ibadat, etc., most of the time you will find the fatwa is on Imam Abu Hanifa's opinion, because it's the most cautious, right? So, right. So, وهذا قول أبي حنيفة وإحدى روايتين عن أبي يوسف, and is one of the opinions of Ibn Yusuf, وأنه, and also for Imam Yusuf, أنه فرق بينهما. He differentiated, he separated between the two. فلم يجوز في البدن بغير الماء. So he did not permit in the body besides water. So according to one opinion of Imam Yusuf is when there's some najasat on your body, whether you need to make istinja, or maybe just some najasat came on your body, you were changing the nappy, whatever, and you have to use water. You have to use water. You understood that? But the fatwa is not on that. Now, inshallah, tomorrow we're going to do something very interesting. That normally we understand when something becomes najis, you have to basically wash it with water. But the next verse, you get certain surfaces which are not very porous. Certain surfaces which are not very porous, it does not draw the najasat completely in. So there you don't have to use water. By just if you are able to remove that najasat effectively without using the water, like a shiny surface of your cell phone, or like you see this desk here, it's painted in varnish. So the najasat is not drawn in like how it's drawn in the cloth. So there's some latitude, there's some ease where you don't have to literally take the water and wash it out. Why the cloth? Why you have to literally wash it out is because it is very porous. So the najasat goes right in. So you need the water to go in and take it out. But like I told you, a smooth surface like a sword, a mirror, a cell phone, if you wipe it thoroughly to such an extent that there's no traces of the najasat, then that will also render it pure. But that will be for tomorrow, inshallah. بس سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك الله وبحمدك ونشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك